gigantic operation was executed by Wartsila in October 2006. The transportation of 5 engines to Plant Ponta Negra demanded serious effort and commitment from the entire team, aside from the challenging logistics operation. The natural obstacles were only one out of many challenges faced by Wartsila on the Manaus projects. The Amazon region has 2 different seasons, both well defined throughout the year. The winter season represents the rainy period. During this season, the river water level rises up 18 meters in comparison to the summer season. And it was exactly during this summer season, when the river water level falls, that it was necessary to build a 120-meter ramp on the margin of River Negro to allow us to unload the engines. The problem was that due to the fast water level falling of River Negro and due to the large weight of the boats, approximately 700 tons each, at the end of the ramp construction, River Negro was still lowering its water level so rapidly that it was necessary to build an additional 30-meter ramp on the river margin to allow the engines to be finally unloaded. With the engines already over wheels, transported by super powerful trucks with more than 40 axles each, we began an even more delicate and complex operation, transportation of the engines to the power plant. In addition to the extreme weight of the engines, each one weighed 270 tons, they were also higher than the high voltage cable network existent along the way from the ramp to the power plant. In order to make the operation possible, technicians from the local energy provider had to go along gradually disconnecting all the cables throughout the way to allow the trucks to advance. During this step, the work went on a slower pace due to the complexity of the operation. It took the team over 12 hours to move the 5 engines a mere 2 kilometers. Overcoming challenges is part of the routine of the Wartsila teams in more than 60 countries around the world where the company is present. On the construction of the Manaus plants, it could be no different. Once again, the Wartsila Corporation Projects Department was successful. And on October 18th, the 270-ton W18 B46 engines were already inside the engine room, ready to be aligned and coupled to the energy generators. On the following week, the air filters were connected to the electrical panels and the 5 chimneys. The storage tanks and the control room were nearing completion. The team also connected the piping, and in several parts of the plant, welding was performed. In the last week of October, the 5 engines were already assembled, aligned, and coupled to the energy generators. In November, the energy room walls were completed. Everything was ready for the final adjustments, and the technical tests on Plant Ponta Negra began. On Plant Cristano Rocha, the final adjustments were made for the engine's testing. By the second week of October, the tests on engines 1 and 2 had been completed. The test began with the receiving of fuel oil, which undergoes a segregation process on a type of centrifuge to remove impurities. This equipment prepares the oil that will be heated to be used as fuel in the 5 engines, which will rotate the energy plant generators to transform fuel into electrical energy. A traditional and outstanding moment in the construction of a thermoelectric power plant is the moment that an engine is started for the first time. This event is called first smoke, which is initially dark and becomes clearer right after. This demonstrates that the filter systems to reduce pollutant emissions are working perfectly and that the plant rigorously complies with the environmental standards of pollutant emissions required by law. On October 18th, Plant Cristiano Rocha received a visit from the president of Rio Amazonas Energia, Jorge Amilcar Bueri da Rocha, whom visited the plant and stated his satisfaction as a Wartsila client, thus revealing that the work was performed successfully and ahead of the deadline. He praised the efforts of the entire team of professionals and technicians of Wartsila.
Nós fôssemos seguir os prazos contratuais em termos de licença de instalação e prazo de contrato formal com a Wartsila, nós teríamos até fevereiro para deixar a usina operando comercialmente, mas com o esforço da Wartsila e nosso, um trabalho contínuo aqui de turnos e retornos e o pessoal trabalhando 24 horas por dia, nós estamos conseguindo colocar em operação agora em novembro, né?
He sadly reminded everyone of his right-hand man on this project, Director Ricardo Mafra, who passed away in a tragic airplane accident. He also revealed that the plant name is an eternal tribute to his son, Cristiano Rocha.
A escolha do nome Cristiano Rocha, em homenagem ao meu filho, que faleceu há 3 anos, 1 mês e alguma coisa, tem a ver com a dificuldade com que a gente enfrentou em termos da disputa do certame que acabamos vencendo em 2004 para 2005. Tem a ver com as dificuldades locais, né, de desenvolvimento de projetos, e tem a ver com a batalha que a gente tem enfrentado para colocar essa usina de pé. E como a vida do meu filho foi de certa forma, no final difícil, né? Então essa batalha tem muito a ver com a batalha que ele travou no final da vida dele. E tivemos um desastre, que foi a perda do nosso amigo, diretor da empresa, agora no final da obra, nesse acidente com o avião da Gol. E essa usina vai deixar para nós recordações assim, algumas bastante alegres, né, pelo fato de termos ganho, pelo fato de termos construído, e outras bastante tristes, porque essa perda do Ricardo para nós foi muito forte.
The president of Rio Amazonas Energia and his team were able to watch the first smoke from the startup of the 5th and last engine. From that point on, we began the synchronism tests with the Manaus Energia and with the Electro Norte network, which also passes through the plant substation. On the civil part, work was in progress on the details. The plant entrance was already finished, and the curb painting and the implementation of the landscape design were begun. The administration and control areas were also already completed. In the external area, under a temperature of 40 degrees centigrade during the Amazon summer, the operators worked on the finish of the tanks, welding and sanding, preparing them to receive the painting. Almost everything was ready at Plant Cristiano Rocha by the first week of November. A world leader with a high standard of excellence, Wartsila, a world-class company, made the months of October and the beginning of November proceed as planned for the Manaus project. At each challenge, a new victory. Manaus, capital of the largest state in Brazil and the largest city in the heart of the Amazon forest, now has the necessary energy for its sustainable development, thus preparing itself for the future of the region that concentrates 40% of the world's fresh water and the largest biodiversity of the planet.